Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Thank you very much for joining us today. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon for some of you. So it depends on your country. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. On behalf of the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, the Global Support Program, CBIT-GSP, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this MENA regional webinar series on enhancing transparency and capacity in GHG inventory management, focusing on QAQC or quality assurance and quality control, inventory work plans, and data management. So over the next 3 days, we will explore the critical components of national GHG inventory system that are essential to fulfilling the reporting requirements under the Enhanced Transparency Framework and Paris Agreement. So, as you all know, transparent, accurate, complete, comparable, and consistent GG inventories are the foundation of effective climate action, and they underpin the credibility of national and global efforts to address climate change. Through this webinar series, we aim to support countries in the Middle East and North Africa region in strengthening their capacities and their technical and institutional capacities. Recognizing the substantial progress that many countries have already made in preparing their national GG inventories under their national communications or views or even BTRs. However, we also acknowledge that we persist having some challenges in areas such as robust QAQC procedures, systematic inventory work planning, and sustainable data management system. So this series is designed to be practical and interactive, providing targeted guidance, tools, and best practices that will help you to enhance your transparency, quality, and sustainability of your GG inventory system. We encourage you all to actively participate, share your experiences and challenges, and also take fully advantage of the expertise and knowledge sharing opportunities these sessions are offering. So the CBGSP, as you may know, is enhancing and committed to providing continued support through its regional networks like this one of the Middle East and North Africa, and also to foster South-South collaboration and create space for countries to learn from each other's experiences as they work toward meeting their transparency obligation. So I would like to sincerely thank you all for your dedicated time and for joining us over the coming days. I also extend my gratitude to our experts and presenters from countries who will be sharing their experience and the experts who will be guiding the discussions with their valuable insights and expertise. And we look forward to a dynamic and fruitful sessions of sessions this webinar series. So as a reminder, the overarching objective of this webinar series is to support national experts in the MENA region in managing and improving their national GHG inventories in line with the international transparency standards. And when we talk about standards, it's Article 13, Paris Agreement, and the enhanced transparency framework. So through a series of interactive and knowledge sharing sessions, the webinars aim to provide participants with practical tools, methodologies, and experts guidance to improve their reporting processes, to also close some data gaps and ensure the accurate and transparent reporting of GHG inventory and the biannual transparency reports. So this series will foster the peer learning and collaboration and help countries in the MENA region to meet their transparency obligations. So, as we already mentioned, this virtual webinar series will consist of three consecutive technical sessions designed to strengthen institutional and technical capacities in GHG inventory. So each webinar will target a specific building block of a robust and transparent national inventory system. The first workshop will be focusing on key concepts and best practices for the quality assurance and quality control planning and procedures to improve accuracy and transparency. The second one will focus on how to design and manage inventory work plans and also improvement plans for better reporting. And the third one will provide some tools for effective data management, addressing data gaps, and building sustainable inventory systems. So we will focus also on institutional arrangements. So our today's webinar is actually to introduce participants to the key concepts and the best practices in quality assurance and quality control planning, focusing on the essential structure and requirements for implementing effective QAQC processes. So throughout presentations, country experience, and interactive discussions, participants will also gain an understanding on how to manage their QAQC processes and how to establish robust data management system in line with the Article 13 of Paris Agreement. So the webinar will also foster the peer learning and provide participants with practical tools to develop or to improve their own QAQC plans. So this is the agenda of today. Today we will start with the first presentation of QAQC requirements and structure by our colleague Freya from UNFCCC. And then the second one will be as a country sharing experience from Morocco by Andalus Bendris on QAQC plan. And the third one will be on management of the QAQC and data management system by our colleague Jaipal. He's the coordinator of Asia region. Thank you very much. And I would like to ask you now to open your cameras in order to take a group photo. Hi. Freya, are you able to take pictures? Yeah.
Yeah, I can take a picture. Sorry, I'll do it now.
Thank you very much. I'm just Salman, no worries. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Is that good now?
Yeah, I think I got everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. So now I guess over to you, Freya, to open the or for the first session. Thank you very much.
Would you be able to share the slides again, please, Kaltoum? Is that okay? Are you able to share the presentation, Kaltoum, or would you like me to share?
You are muted, Kelto.
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I'm just having some issues sharing my screen. Um, 1 second, sorry, everyone. Can you see that okay? Let me just put this into... Perfect, thank you. Let me just put this into presentation mode. Okay. I hope everyone can see that. I actually can't see the participants on the camera anymore. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat as I'm going on. But there'll also be some time for Q&A discussion at the end of this. So thank you, Kaltoum, for your opening remarks and taking us through the overall outline for the next 3 days, but also for this first session. As Kaltoum said, this first day is focused on quality assurance and quality control. And in my presentation, I'm going to be kind of going over the QAQC requirements and structure, and as it relates to greenhouse gas inventories and the requirements of these under the MPGs, and also what should be required, what should be included in the QAQC component of your greenhouse gas inventories. So as I said, this more broadly is going to cover kind of that overall QAQC planning content, but we'll be looking at sort of that overall summary of what QAQC is within the context of the greenhouse gas inventory, what should be included within these QAQC plans and strategies, and we'll also be having experience sharing done by our colleagues in Morocco after this. And of course, we'll be having the time for questions and discussions. So I'm sure at this point, everyone here on the call is well aware that countries under the ETF are required to submit your BTR reports. And as a part of that, one of the main components of that, which is mandatory for all parties reporting, is for countries to generate your national inventory of emissions. And that can either obviously be published within the BTR, but it also can be that standalone component of the NRI as well. So it's really important that these inventories which are reported on really align to the principles of transparency, accuracy, completeness, consistency, and comparability, which is obviously an important factor under the ETF. And that's really there to ensure that the inventories that are being developed are done so to the highest quality. And one of the main systems and components that enable greenhouse gas inventories to kind of reflect. Oh yes, thank you, Kaltoum. Sorry, there is the Arabic channel for participants to select to listen to if they would want to utilize the Arabic function. So please select Arabic or English. Thank you, Kaltoum. Sorry, as I was saying, one of the main ways that we can ensure that the national inventories are kind of aligned to those the TAC principles is through a robust quality assurance and quality control system. And I'll touch on it in a few slides, but this is also kind of integrated within the requirements of the inventory under the MPGs and within the IPCC guidelines. But it's a method that's really it's a consistent management method that allows high quality inventories to be developed. So to put it into obviously some context, I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, of what quality control and quality assurance is, but in relation to greenhouse gas inventories, quality control really refers to the processes and systems and activities in place that really aim to identify and resolve issues that are arising throughout the inventory process and to allow the inventory to be managed and documented and developed in a structured manner. So these systems are designed to provide routine and super consistent checks to ensure the integrity and correctness and completeness of the inventories being developed. And really, they do help to identify and address errors or omissions, and to take into consideration all the levels of data and documentation and the archiving of information that is done throughout these very complex national inventories. And these quality control measures are generally conducted actually by the greenhouse gas inventory team or the sector team, or however the approach to undertaking the inventory is. Quality assurance, on the other hand, is generally as it relates to inventories done after the inventory has actually been compiled. So it kind of quality control kind of is undertaken at various different steps in the inventory compilation, whereas quality assurance kind of comes at that end stage when countries have maybe finished their first the final product. Sorry. So it's usually done after it's completed and compiled, and it takes the form of a systematic review and procedures, which are generally conducted by people who are not directly involved in the development of the process, and really allows to ensure that all the different objectives or different outcomes or the different areas that the inventory is to contain, that these represent the kind of best estimates and the best sort of results coming from the inventory. And these are both extremely important. And I think it's also really important to not forget that there's a kind of third element to quality control and assurance, which is verification, which you can see I've kind of noted at the bottom of the slide here. And it's very crucial, and it can't be forgotten outside of these systems. And verification takes place in both the quality control and the quality assurance aspects of QA/QC procedures and systems and plannings, and really helps to it seeks to verify the actual information that's being compiled and put together, that it's aligned with general expected outcomes. So it feeds into both areas, but I'll be able to show you a bit later on what that means. So again, to put this into more context of the ETF and the BTR, the QAQC obviously really helps reporting parties align to the TAC principles, which are obviously crucial under the ETF. And specifically, the QAQC procedures are actually, or QAQC planning is guided by the MPGs, which themselves have the QAQC procedures and plans as a mandatory reporting provision for developed countries. And of course, there's flexibility provisions in place for developing countries. And they also have the IPCC guidelines for greenhouse gas inventories. Chapter 6 also covers the QAQC procedures. So now I'm going to kind of go through each of these just to provide a little bit more context as to why the QAQC is embedded within the MPGs and what that would look like. So it's mentioned in a few different areas of the MPGs for Chapter 2, which is obviously the National Inventory Report for emissions and removals. So I've obviously included all the text here, but I don't want to get into it in too much detail. But obviously you can see it's the QAQC kind of falls into a few different aspects of the National Inventory Report, because it's not a standalone aspect of the inventory. It's very integral into the whole inventory development process, which you'll also find throughout the different sessions this week, is kind of how all these different elements align and link in together. So as we're talking about here in that under the national circumstances and institutional arrangements part, it talks about how the QAQC needs to be included as it relates to national circumstances and institutional arrangements, because a QAQC plan can't be, or procedures can't be properly set out or developed or achieved without having the correct institutional arrangements in place, the right roles and responsibilities assigned to the different people who would be conducting the QAQC. And then when you go into actually Part E on the reporting guidance, obviously, there's the exact text which said that each party should have a QAQC plan and information on the overall QAQC procedures which are to be implemented. And now here actually is where the information relating to flexibility is stated. So as I said, for developed countries, it's mandatory that they provide information on their QAQC plan and their QAQA procedures. But obviously, in light of developing countries' capacities, you are allowed to elect to use flexibility. And are instead just encouraged to elaborate on the inventory QAQC plan. You can also see then, as it relates still within the quality control aspect of the MPGs, they talk about how the information included within the QAQC should include kind of overall general QAQC procedures, which I'll touch on a little bit in the following slides. And then for maybe more category-specific QA quality check procedures, especially as it relates to the key categories that have been identified and high emitting sectors. So I think overall, countries should be, as it relates to the MPGs, countries should be providing some general information on what QA/QC procedures they have in place. Obviously, there is the flexibility provision there to ensure that in light of capacities, that developing countries aren't overstretched and that they don't have to formulate or provide information on those fully developed, robust QA/QA procedures. But I think it's important for countries to kind of include information on these QA/QC aspects, because, like I said, it really feeds into all the different areas of the BTRs, obviously the NIR chapter, improvement plans, how data is stored, how you are ensuring that uncertainty has been properly estimated. Like, it really kind of falls widely across this chapter, and so it's very important to have it in place. And then when we actually move to the second way in which QAQC procedures is guided, which I said was the 2006 IPCC guidelines. As you can see here, this is actually taken from the guidelines themselves. It's chapter 6, and it really breaks down the different elements of what's to be included in the quality assurance, quality control and verifications step by step, and provides a lot of detailed information on this, which I'm going to break down a little bit more granularly in the rest of my slides. But I just wanted to kind of show here, and I hope that it's clear for everyone, is for the 2006 IPCC guidelines. They've shown this overall inventory development cycle, and I think you can see here really clearly how often and how frequent the QC checking and the QA aspects of the NIR kind of filters in across the whole cycle. So it's not just a standalone process that takes place after everything has been done or by a completely separate team. These should be procedures and aspects that are really embedded into the actual inventory development plan, into the work cycle, into improvement plans. And it filters through all the different elements. So I think what's obviously really important, and I know I've touched on it a little bit already, is to kind of reiterate why the QA/QC processes and procedures are so important. So I've just kind of made a few little notes here. Obviously, this is based kind of on the elements of the ETF and the MPG. So what they really want through these processes is to ensure quality to kind of build trust and credibility in the reporting, because that is generally what the ETF is really standing for and wants to implement. It also really does help in identifying and reducing errors. And like I said, sort of with where it comes to improvement over time, really provides a sort of structured pathway to allow that. And the QAQC also really aids in the technical expert review facilitation. So now I'm going to go through, based on the IPCC 2006 guidelines as it relates to QAQC, I'm going to kind of walk you through the main components of what the QAQC procedures should look like as it relates to the inventory. So we have around 10 different elements that I think are the most essential as it relates to the things that countries need to make sure that they're including or considering when they're developing these QAQC procedures or just the QAQC plans. And these can really range from quite robust technical systems, which J-Pal is going to touch a little bit more on in his session, in his presentation after this one, or they can be more general checklists and plans that countries can use, because obviously we understand that there's a lot of different capacities and a lot of different capabilities as it relates to this. And there's resource constraints and time constraints, but what we want to make sure is that even if a country can't have a super robust system, that they still have some of the more general and simple structures in place to allow this. So the first kind of main component is the institutional arrangements, inventory roles, and responsibilities. So I think it's very important to identify a kind of a lead agency or a lead team within the BTR compilation teams or the NRR compilation teams as an overseer, but also the roles and responsibilities really do spread out across the whole team who are conducting either specific sectors or one or two more. That assignment of responsibilities is super important, and you have to provide a really clear description of the different coordination roles and mechanisms that would inquire. So then the next part would be the general quality control procedures. So these would be the standardized and routine quality controls checks across various different aspects of the inventory, but obviously most importantly, it'd be the actual data itself. So the data inputted and its accuracy, the correct use of units or conversion factors and emission factors, what methods are being used, what methodologies, if any calculation, interpolation or extrapolation has been used, is this being properly documented and understood? And then obviously, references and the overall completeness. You then have the category-specific control procedures, which I mentioned. This is kind of as it relates more to the key categories or very high-emitting or economically important categories that are identified as a result of the NIR. So these would kind of have a little bit more, they would go beyond the general quality control procedures in place. So these would be kind of more independent reviews, more in-depth. Maybe you would have third-party evaluations come in. They would maybe be assigned more timing or a wider breadth of scope as it relates to it. And then, of course, you have the verification activities. This will be kind of where you conduct those cross-checks to actually make sure that as you're compiling this information and as it's ongoing, that you're kind of checking and making sure that it aligns to the general expected outcome. So this could be, cross-checking with external independent data, especially maybe for, sectors or categories that you're using a tier 2 methodology on. You could kind of cross-check it with national estimates or regional estimates just to make sure that things are in the right ballpark. You can also then look at kind of alternative estimation methods, maybe look at general emissions over time and kind of conduct these comparisons just to make sure that, if there was a mistake that was made or if there was something wrong, but the calculations in themselves are all correct and that's followed through, it's kind of allowing these maybe mistakes that could happen, iteratively to be picked up on rather than picked up on at the end of the process. So then we've got the key category prioritization for QAQC. So this is obviously, as I said, is really spending a little bit more time and a little bit more granularity looking at the QAQC activities for those key high emitting sectors. The next kind of key part for these QAQ procedures to consider within the QAQC plan is that documentation, the archiving, the reporting procedures. So it's that making sure there's a data log and making sure that information is being captured, where it's being stored, who's in control of these things. And I think this is also a big part where the integration of the uncertainty then comes in. So this is where the uncertainty management links take place. I'm sorry, I think those two should actually be switched over. Sorry about that. So yeah, for the documentation and archiving, that's, as I said, making sure that all the data, all the rationale, the methodologies are included. And then you also then have that aspect where you're looking at the linkages between the uncertainty, because obviously that forms a big part of the different calculations that are taking place. So then the final three areas just to look at here. So it would be the actual schedule and the frequency of the QA/QC activities. So this would be, defined periods of time when the QA checks are performed and who is performing them, how frequently these are being done. And it kind of provides this overall timeline for these different elements to take place. Then you also have, and I think this is an essential part of any QAQC plan and procedure, because these procedures are not set in stone. Naturally, as countries continue reporting and maybe, increase the number of categories that they're reporting on using a tier 2 methodology, these QAQC procedures are going to have to improve over time as well. So it kind of allows, by bringing this into the plan and procedures and processes that you're setting out within your national QAQC system for the NIR, you really allow for that periodic evaluation of the system itself and kind of updating it as also based on lessons learned and best new practices, or maybe updates to certain guidelines that take place or certain decisions that are made in relation to the MPGs and the ETF. And then the kind of last bit is, I think, really crucial and can sometimes be a little bit forgotten when we think of these things. And it's actually the training and capacity building element. A lot of inventory development teams, it changes over time. And what you really need to make sure, and this again kind of links into the institutional arrangements, you want to make sure that there is processes integrated within your QAQC plans and procedures that allow for new personnel to be brought on, to have experts, training and building capacity as it relates to this area. And also, again, as the QAQC procedures maybe change and adapt, you want to have that update of skills happening over time as well. The overall, just as an overall summary, is as to the actual QA, the content of the plan. So it needs to, as a general, kind of outline the overall quality assurances and quality checks that are going to take place in the different activities, and how the institutional arrangements and responsibilities are embedded in with those. You really need to focus on timeframes and who is going to be responsible for these things at different times, as it's relating for the initial development through every iteration of the NRI that takes place, which obviously under the BTR is every 2 years. Obviously, this plan is an internal document to really help organize and implement all the different QAQC procedures and activities. And once developed, that can, it's super beneficial throughout the whole process and can be modified and updated. And as I said, kind of takes into account lessons learned and overall kind of conclusions drawn from previous inventory cycles. And like I said, that periodic review is super important. So just to kind of summarize quickly before we move on to some experience sharing from Morocco, the inventories that you make really need to be credible and believable. They need to be of high quality. And in order to kind of align these inventories with showcasing the TAC principles, the QAQC processes and planning and verification activities are super integral parts of this process. And you want to maintain a balance between these requirements, but also, thinking into account your own resources and your own capabilities and your own time. And as long as you have these kind of quality assurances and quality control processes in place, as I said, they don't have to be super robust or super technical. But as long as you have these in place as part of your inventory planning and work cycles, it really goes a long way in ensuring that as you move over time, that these reporting cycles actually become slightly easier because you'll have these systems and plans in place. So I know that was a really quick blow through the general kind of requirements and what these QAQC plans should look like in terms of their actual what should be included within them. So now we're actually going to have Morocco share some experience of their own QA/QC system, and then after that, JPAL will be taking you into some more of the elements of what these systems look like. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Freya. Thank you very much for your valuable presentation on the requirement. Now let me call Andalus Bendris, our colleague. She is the national coordinator for the CBIT projects and BTR and the fifth national communication. Thank you very much, Andalus, for accepting and sharing your experience with us. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Over to you.
Thank you, Kaltoum. Thank you, Freya. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be with you today and to share Morocco's experience. And let me just thank CBIT-GSP for those constructive webinar. I will try to share my screen and let me know, please, if you can see it. Is that good?
Not yet. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So it will be a quick presentation and sorry, not that one, this one, yeah. So it will be a quick presentation about Morocco's experience in implementing its QAQC system regarding national inventory. And
Andalus,
yeah.
please, could you make it in full screen?
It's in full screen. I will retry.
No, it's actually not in full screen, the presentation.
Okay. Can you check right now?
Yeah, now it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So, as I said, it will be a quick presentation about the key milestones that Morocco went through to implement and to develop its QAQC system. And we will have a quick reminder of our national context, a description of our national inventory QAQC systems. We will also develop our challenges and barriers and present the next step that Morocco will implement to efficiently implement its QAQC plan. Okay, so in terms of Morocco's efforts to implement the enhanced transparency framework, let me just remind you that Morocco has already submitted 5 national communication, 3 biennial updated reports, and its first biennial transparency report by the end of 2024. And to accompany this transparency framework, he implements an institutional arrangement dedicated to GHG inventory called National Inventory System, with a national committee and a unit, national inventory unit dedicated to calculating GHG emission for the key sectors in the national inventory. He also implemented an institutional arrangement related to climate change, who enhance also the work that is done by the national inventory systems. And we have a national committee dedicated to climate change and biological diversity, with a sub-committee dedicated to climate change, and 4 working groups that are working on several aspects regarding climate change, including inventory and mitigation GHG emission. So in terms of implementing or developing, let's say, our QAQC system, we can say that Morocco went through several phases, in particular four, let's say. The first one was characterized by only some external verification activities, and it began in 2001 to 2018 before the institutionalization of our national inventory system in 2019. Just right after that, there is some internal and external verification activity that has been done. And in 2024, Morocco has held a very important event regarding the quality assurance of its Bureau 3 biennial updated report, the third biennial updated report. And this event was the origin of the development of our QAQC system, and that we will see in more details how each phase has been done by Morocco and also the key stakeholders involved in our national inventory. So let's focus on the first phase from 2001 to 2019 with only some external verification activities. So during this period, data collection has been done by key stakeholders, the key representative of the 5 sectors of GHG inventory, but with some help by external supports. The calculation have been done by external consultants, mainly national ones, and there were some verification activities based on some experts' analysis. So at this first phase, let's say that Morocco has only some verification activities, but no QAQC system or official system that has been developed. For the second and the third phase from 2019 to May 2024. So Morocco has established a national institutional arrangement dedicated to national inventory. And here we have 2 cases. The first case is about the sectors that are calculating their GHG emissions. So it's about energy, agriculture, and LULUCF. Those represent those stakeholders are collecting data and calculating their GHG emissions, and they are also conducting some internal verification regarding data quality and the GHG emission results. For the 2 remaining sectors, industrial process and waste, the data collection and the calculation are accomplished by external experts, and there is external verification regarding GHG emission results. So when we went through those activities that are conducted at an internal or at an external level, we identified some QAQC activity that are conducted at sector level, but there was no official procedure dedicated to the control quality or insurance quality for the national inventory. And here we came to the quality insurance organized by the UNFCCC regarding our third biennial updated report. And this event has been held by Morocco and for 1 week, where some experts from the UNFCCC went through all the chapters of the Bureau 3, and they also raised some key recommendations regarding our QAQC systems. And I list some of these recommendations, such as the development of a QC plan with some clear procedures at all stages of the inventory cycle to ensure the implementation of the QC plan that will be developed, to perform data comparison with international data, to enhance capacities, and other recommendations. So this step has led to the beginning of the development of an official QAQC system in Morocco. And this started by September last year, where there was several workshops organized with the participation of key stakeholders involved in the GHG inventory system. So we started by an evaluation of perceptions toward QAQC. As you may know, when we are talking about quality assurance, quality control, there is maybe some resistance from key stakeholders, as there will be some verification activities done at an internal level, but also by some external activities. We went next to the presentation of key definitions and general aspects of a QAQC system and the description of QC and QA activities. And we also done a parallelism with the activity that are already carried out by the GHG National Inventory System team to show them that it's not about the nomination of the system, but they are already doing some QC activities in sectoral level, and there is also some QA activity that are conducted by external experts. So this was made to show them that there is that it's let's say a new system that will be developed, but they are already doing some activities, and it won't be a new system that will be implemented. And the 5th step was to propose a QAQC plan for their examination. Then we developed with an international expert some Excel sheets that show the different activities that can be conducted and to be aligned with the IPCC 2006 guidelines, such as the allocation of responsibilities, the execution schedule, and some QAQC coordinator checklist, the activities that need to be done by the QAQC coordinator. The second step was to finalize the QAQC plans and to approve it by the key stakeholders. So we organize other stakeholders with the participation of other workshops with the participation of key stakeholders for national inventory systems to finalize the QAQC activities and to list the different QC activities, and also to start responsibilities distribution at a sectoral level, mainly for the 3 sectors that are calculating by themselves their GHG emissions, including energy, agriculture, and LULUCF. The 4th step was to analyze their capacity building needs to train and to ensure implementation starting from 2025. So let's say that the development of a QAQC system is not very complex if we have the cooperation and the involvement of key stakeholders that are mainly involved in GHG inventory. But let's be honest, there's still some challenges and barriers, especially in Morocco. Maybe it can be common with other countries. And the first one that has been identified is limited staff for national inventory system. So we have 3 sectors that are already doing their GHG inventory by themselves, but they have also their dedicated or their sectoral attribution in their ministries. Here with the QAQC system, there are new activities that need to be implemented by this staff, and it can be complicated to doing it in the timeline that has been planned in 2024. There is also an important need in terms of capacity building regarding QAQC implementation. And here we are talking about national key stakeholder, but also national experts that don't really have enough expertise in terms of QAQC implementation phase. They are doing some verification activities, but it's not done as a part of a QA plan. There's also a necessity to start implementing QAQC system before submitting BTR2. We are already in 2025, and we need to start analyze and to adapt the QAQC system to each sectoral level, and try to start implementing it by the most prioritized activities, let's say. There is also, as I said in number 2, the lack of national expertise with confirmed skills in QAQC dedicated to GHG inventory. There is also a big challenge, which is about data availability and quality. So if we want to have QC activities or QC plan to implement it, we need to have the data that will be available, and then to verify its quality. And the last one, but not least, intersectoral coordination. And here we can say that there is a coordination at sectoral level, but the national coordinator needs to have this big view and to ensure an intersectoral coordination, which is not easy with the submission of the different reporting reports. For the next steps, we will try to organize some workshops by June, let's say, to prioritize the needs of each sector and to finalize the distribution with the procedure with the responsibilities distribution. So we can have for each activity in terms of control quality and also in control assurance for each activity, for each steps responsible with schedule. We will also develop a sectoral roadmap that will include the to support key stakeholders to implement the QAQC plan in parallel with other aspects such as the IPCC software and calculations, data verification, and other activities. So this is a quick view of our journey to develop a QAQC plan for GHG inventory. We have a long journey to start to implement it, but yeah, it's a first big step for Morocco. Thank you for your attention, and I'm glad to answer your question.
Thank you very much, Andalus, for sharing your valuable experience. Thank you very much for accepting also our invitation every time. And I think now we could open the floor to your interaction and discussion. And if you have any questions for the first presentation on requirements and the second one on experience sharing of QAQC plan of Morocco. I don't know if we have. Yes. So Arjan is asking if we are going to share documents. Yes, of course. All documents will be shared in our platform, transparency platform. So right after this webinar series, you will receive an email with the link to be able to download all the documents. Okay. I'm wondering if we have any questions or interaction, or we could keep it until the third one, after the third session. Okay. So now, colleagues, let me call my colleague Jaypal. Jaypal is the regional coordinator for Asia. And he is also an expert in GHG inventory. Thank you very much, Jaypal, for accepting supporting MENA in this webinar series. Over to you.
Thank you, Kelto, and thanks all of you to join today's meeting. Your presence mentioned that you are very much interested in the QAQC, and I can see some familiar names that were participated in the last year in the Japan, our Global Transparency Forum and the Inventory Workshop. So pleasure to meet you again. And from the first two presentations, I think we have a quite good idea about the QAQC. And from the Morocco, we also see that how they have progressed, what work they have done in the QAQC, what are their experience, what are their challenges, and what are the plan for the future. As you know, VTR, it's a continuous cycle that we all are involving. And the good thing about the doing the third presentation is that all the people I have joined, and there is a good number of people I can see here. So let's start today's presentation. I mostly focus on the management side, how QAQC management and with existing data management, if you have already, or if not, then how you can link with the data management system and the QAQC system. So let me share my screen and yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned, I will go through some I think we'll not go in detail about the QAQC as Priya has already covered this, but I will just be doing a quick recap and then go in detail about the management and the data flow, how data is flowing in the this full cycle of QAQC. And I will also share my experience related to the quality work that we are doing in the Asia and also under the CBIT-GSP to support all the countries. So as you all know, quality assurance, it's a third party. So whatever we are doing, external review, independent assessment, verification, expert peer review, this all are the part of the activity under the quality assurance. And we would like to also inform you that CBIT-GSP is doing this work very much in detail for all the countries all over the globe. And we also go in detail for doing the review of the external of the all the sector, all the subsector sectors in the inventory in the NDC. So you can also take advantage of this CBIT-GSP facility to take doing a good in detail quality assurance of your particular chapter or even a full BTR. And the quality control, this is completely in your hand. The country team has to do this. This is a technical activity which involve the participations of the all level of people, from the data collection to the final report. And those people who are involved in the BTR preparation, this is your work. Routine check, data verification, and the documentation. This is the all part of the quality control. And you are the best person also for the any kind of the result of the quality control exercise that we are doing. If you found something missing or anything related to the during the quality control exercise, you are the best person, you can tell that how to correct that. So that's why quality control is completely in your hand. And the quality assurance, the third parties and like CBIT-GSP can help you, of course, to improve the report in the after completing the quality control. So if the quality control is a very good in the country, then the quality assurance will be a very much easy compared to the quality control, because you have already done 3, 4, 5 level of checks, and then this report goes to the third party as a quality assurance. So that's how this under the QAQC process, QC is the most important part. So if you do a management of this all QAQC 5-step: plan, implement, document, review, and improve. You have to start with the plan, develop a QAQC. If you have already a plan, try to improve and try to revise every time whenever you are doing this exercise. Implement whatever procedures you are planning, whatever procedures you are planning to put this in the process, try to put in a real-time application. Document, this is the most important, as Priya mentioned. Whatever activity that you are doing in the QAQC, it is necessary that you have to put in a record, either digital or manual, whatever system you have. Review, so if I give the example of the review, whenever you are doing the quality check of your report, if there is a list of the errors that you find out after the exercise, if this are increasing year by year, then your plan or procedures or whatever you have whatever you have strategy put in your country for the QAQC, it is not effective. You have to see that why there is the error is increasing. The main idea to it is basically your report tells the third party like us in a 5 or 10 minutes that what is and how your QAQC system in your country. The more and effective and more transparent, accurate reporting without the error, it tells that country has a very good, strong QAQC cycle or QAQC management in the country. And improve, the last step. It is a continuous improvement process throughout the BTR. Of course, your BTR 1, it's not same as like BTR 4 or 5. Of course, BTR 4 and 5 will be much better compared to the BTR 1 because you found mistake, you improve. That is also the objective of the UNFCCC technical expert review. When you submit the BTR, the main idea of the technical expert reviewer is to identify the capacity building needs of the country, but what are the areas where you are lacking in terms of reporting, transparency, or encouragement, or completeness. So that's how these all things are important. The review, the QAQC, this all BTR and everything. But if we go in detail to see what is the how you can establish the effective QAQC. So the two things are important: organization structure and the documentation. These two things are also completely linked. If you lost the one key, the another thing will not work. If you have a very good organization structure, but you do not document the everything, whatever you are doing under the QAQC, it is not effective, and it will be not useful for the future teams, those who are working in a BTR2 or BTR3. So these two things are mandatory: organizational structure and the documentation. And if we see this, if we are arranging in a step, so first step will be the design. You have to designate a coordinator for the all this QC activity in your team. Maybe a sector wise, maybe a subsector wise, maybe a chapter wise, whatever is convenient for you. Define the roles. What is the role of that each person? Establish the reporting of that all the person to the higher authorities. You all the people from the higher authority to everyone, those who are involved in the preparation, it need to be a better coordination. So these four steps are related to the organization structure. Then we have to go for the documentation. Whatever we are doing in the team, it should be a proper plan, it should be a proper standardized template. Maintain the logs of whatever the QAQC, even when small, like you found even a very small mistake in a unit or in activity data, and just you wrote that in an email that this is a mistake, just correct. And so this is not a proper process. You have to do a proper documentation of even a one small mistake that you found in a quality control exercise. That's the important of the each and every single error that you found in the quality control. So maintain everything, document everything, and this will be also become a more important when the team is not sustainable, or team is not working in a longer way. Like in a BTR1, the people those who are working in a quality control, maybe they are not there in a BTR3. So the new people who will join the QAQC team in a BTR3, they will not understand what kind of quality control exercise that we have performed in the last, what are the result, and how we have, what kind of steps we have taken to correct that error. So that's how this like institutional arrangement for the our chapters to collect the data, prepare, and finally submit the inventory or the NDC. There is also the sustainable institution or organization system is required for the QAQC. What are the essential elements and how you can prioritize this effort? So we all have a different condition on that. The QAQC, we saw the example from the Morocco that they have continuously slowly moving, and this is how we can also start with the very basic and try to improve yourself over through BTR 2, 3 or through next reports. So if you have not done anything, start with the focus on the key categories. Key categories are the most important greenhouse gas emission categories where we have highest emission through all the sectors. So first focus on these highest emission sources, then focus on the high uncertainty. Wherever you have think that your country expert stakeholder found that there are high uncertainty number, focus on that high uncertainty because it the impact of this higher uncertainty is too much. I will give my example later. And whatever the checks that you can implement at each level, from the collection of the data to final reporting, that will also be very useful for us. And balance this with the IPCC and the MPG guidelines. That's the main idea behind our work that we are doing under the BTR. So if we go by tier approach, like the inventory, tier 1, do the basic checks. Tier 2, go for the detailed check of the key category. Don't go for the detailed check all the category. First start with the key categories. Also for tier 3, comprehensive review of the high uncertainty. So these two things will be a first priority for you. Go for a key category and go for the higher uncertainty categories. If you have set up this, then go for all the category, because there is a category which has emission of around 1 ton, 1 million ton, and there is another category which has 100 million ton. So if you do all these steps, uh, uh, provide all the resources, use the time, everything, whatever you do for the 1 million ton category, okay, you improve the emissions of the 1 million ton. But if you are not focused on the 100 million ton category, then the even a 5% of the 100 million ton is a 5 million ton. So you understand that the highest emission source are the most important in the country. So focus on the all these highest emission categories, the top that categories that we came out from the level assessment under the inventory, that are the main target for the each country. To start with the QAQC for the if you have a limited time or if you have a limited resources, if you have a limited team, and this is a continuous process. So all these elements are completely linked. You have to identify the objective, QC procedure, QA review, verification, documentation, timeline, resources, and continuous improvement. So this will be a common throughout the all the slides and whenever you do the QA/QC. These are the essential element will be remain a part of your QA/QC plan. So I have some system now that I will go in detail. So one is about decentralized data. Second is about standardized template that mostly country use. Versions controls that are basically digital control system. What are the roles of the each person, those who are involved in this QAQC exercise? How the data is flowing through from the data collection to the final. You have to check this. That's important on QC. Regular audits, you have to also see that what is how your QAQC plan is performing. If even after the 2-3 years you are still finding the 100 mistake that you found in BTR1, in BTR2 you will found 150 mistake, then your QAQC plan is not effective. You need to do a regular audit of your QAQC plan. You have to improve it and you have to make it more effective. Then only a QAQC plan will be a, you can say, play an important role in your improving the reporting of your BTRs and national communication and any kind of climate reports. And the final step is the backup. Everything, documentation and backup is the most important thing that is required from the each country. So I go quickly by one, centralized data. This is a structured database or platform where we all the input data, method, assumption, calculation are stored. So if I am the part of the inventory team that I am doing, so if I have to do the my sector QC check, then I will see the all the data, where is data coming, who is the provider, what happened after the data collection, or who has done the any kind of calculation, estimation, or any kind of unit conversion or anything that I will check. I will also check if I have to take any expert judgment, if there is any assumption has been taken. So all these things should be at one place, which is called the centralized data management system. And this facilitates the consistency across the all the inventory years. Once you have around like from 1990 to 2024, 32 or 35 years data, it is become a more complex challenge for the QC. Second step is the standardized template and checklist. Go for the this is basically we are trying to reducing through a data collection or the some calculation sheet through Excel or the any kind of digital system to reduce the human error, to reduce the calculation error. So that's the main important of the standardized template. And the IPCC guideline also provide that Freya mentioned in that we have standard checklist from the IPCC also that you can also use for your country to prepare the QAQC plan. This is one of that snapshot that you can do. Log control and the documentation system. Whatever tools in your system, even it is a digital, manual, Excel based, whatever, you have to do this and change every year. Audit it, improve it, and document it very well. This is one of the example that how country has done the QC activity, what are the procedures that they have taken during that activity, and who is the responsible party. So every person, those who are involved in the QC, we have a clear role and the responsibility that this work you have to do, and what is your role, why you are doing this, and what will be the impact of this exercise. These things will be very clear in the mind of that person, those who are doing this QC activity. And the data flow, the person thinks that from I am the data provider of the fuel data to the energy sector, and I have some around of coal or liquid or gas, that kind of natural gas. This is the natural gas that we have imported in the last year, and there is some mistake 1 or 2%. So I say that it will be not create a much impact at the country level. So I just ignore. So this will be create a much more and longer and more impactful in the at a national level. So don't think that even a 1% or 0.01% error will be a not important or just overlook or do not put it in a system or do not inform our compiler or the coordinator that this is the error. Single error will be very much important. You don't know what is the national level greenhouse gas emission of that one particular category or subcategory or the gas. When you are aware that your 0.01% is about the 1,000 million ton of the 0.1%. So you can understand what is the impact of that number in the national greenhouse gas emission and the result and the accuracy of that estimate. So this is the one example of the European. This is the QAQC element of their inventory cycle. All the developed countries are reporting their greenhouse gas inventory every year. We are reporting under 2 years under the BTR, but they have to report from last 1990. They are doing this, and they all have this sustainable system throughout the years. And you can see this. This is from September to September. They have some system. One first step is the data collection, then the emission calculation, database entry, the output, the inventory report preparation start, and then the final archiving. And this all the step throughout the year, from 1 year, you can see what are the kind of quality control that they are doing. So during the data collection, they check the unique references where the data is collected, what kind of data is input from the collected data. Then the second stage is about the emission calculation. What is the input data? What are the unit? What is the time series consistency? What is the documentation on all this QAQC? If you found any mistake, what are the manuals? How you are doing the QAQC? So this is just one example from the centralized data management system from the European. And another example also is the kind of quality control check that they are doing the inventory process. So from the data first step, a data request, then there is a first check about what kind of data source, what is the suitability, what is the reliability of this, what is the reality of this, all the time series data. Then the raw data, then again the check to using the check unit, time series, all the data compared to the last reporting, what is the energy balance in the kind of energy sector, compilation, then another check 3, check the applying all the methodology alternative are as per the FCC guideline and the MPG. Check 4, producing all the mass balance, time series consistency, energy check, activity check, emission factor check, final number of the emission. Then the last check is about reporting. Whatever number that we are reporting, the first person, those who have collected, also need to check that what kind of data that country is reporting, what kind of data that I have reported, and what data that country has reported from, what kind of calculation, estimation that they have done on my data. So this you need to be aware, all the person. So that's why the clear role and responsibility of all the person, those who are involved in the QC check, is the most important. Regular internal audit of your QC plan is required. If you found any inconsistency in for BTR1, the same inconsistency if you found in BTR2, your QC plan is not effective. Your QC plan is not improving year by year. Document and archiving, as I mentioned, the person, those who are involved are change time to time. So in a BTR3 or 4, maybe you are not a part of the team. So the next team should be aware what kind of step we took during the last BTRs and what kind of mistake that we found during our quality control, how we have corrected, what kind of assumption we have took, what kind of decision would we took to improve that result. And this is from the one example from the UK, that how management of QAQC and how they are documenting this all the material. As they are submitting the 32 years currently from 1990 to 2022, you can see they have all 32 Excel sheets. All 32 Excel sheets have also the 60 sheets. So you can understand it is more than 1,000 sheets that they are managing. But it all start with the basic step. Whatever step, whatever level they have currently reached, they have started with very basic step that we can also do that. Maybe in a BTR 3, 4, we are also in the same stage like the developed country, and that's also the objective of the ETL. So I also saw some challenges in the Morocco. So I have some few slides only, then I will complete. So limited resources, this is a common for all of us. So how you can address it? implement a phase-based approach, focus on the key category and high uncertainty category, and start with some basic QC check in your country. And slowly, BTR2 to BTR4, you can improve it. But whatever you are doing, make sure that you are doing a very well and very well document and doing a very good, reliable, consistent check. Then the data accessibility. The person, those who are involved, have a proper access to all the data, from the proper data collection to the final publish of the report. So all this need to be clearly sharing protocols, or maybe if you have to do a proper MOU with all these people, those who are involved in the QC, make sure that all the people has a proper data control. Technical capacity, like the CBIT-GSP, there are also many support providers who can support you in this program. So try to improve your technical capacity year by year to improve your knowledge about the quality control and the quality assurance. Institutional coordination is also the one of the problem, like the institutional arrangement for our inventory or NDC. You also have to do the formalized agreement and the designation focal point for all this kind of QC check. And the continuity. You have to do the thorough documentation and the knowledge transfer for all the years that we are doing. Currently, we are reporting from 1990. Once we are going to BTR 3, 4, 5, 6, the years will be increased. The reporting files will be increased. The data set will be increased. So this is a must requirement for all of us. And how you can build this sustainable system. We have proposed some short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan. You can do this. If you already have system, you can go to medium-term. If you think then we have already a good system, then go for longer-term plans. But this is how you can slowly start preparing a roadmap for the QC if you have not done. If you have already done, you need to strengthen that system. And the success factor for everything is the institutional management, documentation, knowledge management, gradual enhancement throughout the years, and the PL learning. Like the Morocco, we learned that what kind of step that they are taking, what kind of system they have. We can also learn from the other countries, those who are doing a very good exercise or very good activity under the QA or QC. So last slide, key messages. Our main objective is to meet the ETF requirement. Second phase implementation, gradually start doing whatever resources you have. Start with very basic. Third step, focus on the key category, prioritize your effort on the efficiency. The key category and high uncertainty is the most key target for all of us. Integrate with the data management. Try to effective through a data. Whatever data is in your system, make it a more digital and accessible to all the person, those who are involved in this process. Maintain a proper documentation of everything, and it is also should be accessible to all the people. Utilize the CBIT-GSP network. We also provide support, every kind of improve your QAQC or improve your inventory or NDC. There are also some other support provider who can help you to do this activity and engage throughout. So Keltum has already arranged this very good webinar series for all of you to all the countries. So this kind of activity will be very useful for you. You can learn from all the country, and this will be a very good peer learning for all of us. So these are some of the source that you can use to understand more about the QAQC. And yeah, so get back to the Keltum, and thank you so much for all of us to patient hearing. And if you have any question related to my presentation or earlier presentation, we are very happy to answer, and we are happy to connect with you with this QAQC and anything doubt, any suggestion, comment related to the QAQC. Yes,
Thank you very
Keltum,
much,
please.
Jaipal. Yeah, thank you very much, Jaipal, for your valuable contribution. We have one question from Natalia. Will you please explain what is the difference between the verification and QA processes? Thank you.
Yes, hi Natalia. So very happy to see you. And yeah, verification and the quality assurance. These are the part of the third-party assurance activity, mostly which will be country given this work to the person those who are not involved in the preparation process. So verification has a standard template that this is the kind of step that we like. We can say the UNFCCC technical expert review is a kind of verification process. They check everything about the MPG para, that this is the country has followed that mandatory or not. So this kind of the verification. But under the quality assurance that what CBIT-GSP is doing, we are doing a very much detailed work. We also follow the ETF kind of checklist that for the each para what you have done or not. We also propose what you can do for that improve this error, or how you can improve to this quality, how you can correct this error, and how you can improve in this future reports. If you need to build your capacity, we can also propose the solution, how you can handle it. So this kind of quality assurance is a little bit different compared to the verification. Verification is done by the proper system or kind of auditor, and the quality assurance is to object to help the countries to provide through detailed report. So this is my understanding, but yeah, I am happy to discuss and further anything related to the topic about the quality assurance and the verification.
Okay, thank you very much, Jaypal. So we would like to open the floor for your questions and interactions. So if you have any comments, question, or interaction, please go ahead. We still have like few minutes. I don't actually see any question. I think we can move to the mentee, and then if they have any questions, we can proceed. Okay. Okay, let me just share my screen. So here, just a very quick feedback. Please try to join us by scanning the QR code here, or you can join menti.com and use the code 68285873. Please try to join us, because we will have some questions for you before going to the final feedback. Okay, you still can join us now. All right, let's start. From where are you joining us today? Please state your country. We have Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Morocco. We have also Sudan. I know that we have Sudan. We have a lot of people, Copenhagen. That should be Freya. Freya and Fernando. Okay, so let's move to the second question. Please indicate your gender. Same number. Okay. It's almost the same. Oh, 50%. That's very good rate. Okay, first question. What is your biggest challenge in implementing your quality assurance, quality control procedures for GHG inventories? Limited resources, staff, time, budgets? Is it because of lack of technical expertise or trainings, difficulties in coordinating between institutions, insufficient data quality or availability, challenges with documentation and reporting? So we have 3, lack of technical expertise, 2, limited resources, and 2, difficulties in coordinating between institutions. Lack of technical expertise, yes. It makes sense, actually. So this is why we are organizing this webinar. How would you rate your country's current GHG inventory QAQC system? Just certain, no formal system, basic checks in place but not systematic, documented procedures for some categories, comprehensive system but implementation gaps, robust system fully implemented. The majority basic check in place but not systematic. And we have some others stated just certain, documented procedures, comprehensive systems, just certain. So the majority are in this phase, basic check in place but not systematic. Thank you very much. The third question, in one word, what aspect of data management do you most want to improve in your GHG inventory system? What aspect of data management do you most want to improve in your GHG system? Transparency. Clear indicators. We have accuracy, clear indicators, transparency, consistency, all. Yes. Consistency, coordination, digital system, regular data collection, true. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. So now let's go to your feedback and how satisfied are you with this technical webinar? Please take into consideration that this is the first part. We are planning to have the 2 second and third webinars tomorrow and after tomorrow. Thank you very much. We have 3 very satisfied. The majority are satisfied. We are happy with that. Thank you. And was this event useful for your work? Is it yes, no, or in parts? 6 or 7, 8, 4 in parts, 8, yes, 10. It means that the majority of participants are working directly on GHG inventory. That's very good. All right. What was the most useful that you will take away from this webinar? From this first part? We have QAQC information. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. And I would like to, if you have any questions, I would like to open the floor again. If you don't have, please, Freya or Jaipal, would you want to say any other words?
No, I think that's great. And of course, I think Calcium has said, like, please feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions relating to the content. Obviously, we'll be carrying on for the next few days. So also, if you have questions relating to QAQC and that you want to discuss tomorrow, if we have time, please do let us know. And of course, I think Jaipal mentioned it, but the CBIT-GSP do provide kind of support in that QA the QA activities through being able to look at and conduct those quality assurances of your BTRs before maybe you want to submit them to the UNFCCC, which I know a lot of countries that could be on the call already took part in. So that is still there, and that's still an option. So please reach out to Kaltoum if you want any further information on this itself. But other than that, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much, guys, and see you tomorrow, the same time. Can we use the same link tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. Please use the same link. Actually, today we couldn't have more people because the majority are facing some challenges with Zoom. So every participant needs to have a count to be able to to join us. I will look if we can just make it without any registration for other participants so that they could be able to join us tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day. See you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sibushan.
Yeah, bye. My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.